I got a life update. Momo. We bought land in Tokyo to build our own house. It wasn't an easy journey. We've been trying for several years actually to find a property here and had some crazy cases, missing landowners in Hakone. A Japanese bank told us no more times than I can remember. And yeah, it's just been years of waiting for the right moment. So today I wanted to share with you the full story and show you some ideas of what we actually want to build. If we've never met, I'm Masha. I've been living in Tokyo for 5 years with my Japanese husband Taro and our kaninchen dachshund Momo-chan, a very important member of the family. I apologize for any noises coming from this side. Shh. Do you like my cup? This is Momo-chan. How cute is this? My friend brought it from the US for me. Taro and I have always been renting in Tokyo. We've lived here for 5 years. This is our second apartment actually, and I can't complain. It's very spacious in a very nice location, plenty of space for both of us. And Momo-chan, of course, but it's not ours, you know, like every time I want to change something, I really am restrained and I can't do much here. And also the way the space works is it's not built for you. For example, this is my space where I work and it's inside the bedroom. I ideally would like to keep them separated and, I think it's just better for the energy to have your working space separately from your bedroom. I've gone on a tangent here. This is a beautiful apartment and, as you expect, it's quite expensive. We got a car last year and we need to pay for parking separately, which is also very expensive. So when you put those together, it actually really adds up. At some point we started asking, maybe we should just build our own place and have space for the car, build the layout that fits your lifestyle. Our first idea was actually not to build in Tokyo at all. We started looking for old houses outside the city, somewhere we could renovate and maybe make use of it as a holiday home, an Airbnb whenever we're not using it. In Japan, property doesn't appreciate the way it does in the West, and a lot of it actually depreciates. So buying cheap and rebuilding made a lot of sense. But what we really discovered as we went through this process of looking for the suitable property, it's actually really complicated when you want to combine it with a bank loan. To get a bank loan, there are a lot of different requirements that you need to fulfill. If the road is private, you need to get permission from the owner of the road that you are allowed to build, even though there used to be a house before. We had cases when, especially in Inaka, countryside, where the owner passed away, so there is no one to ask for the permission, and nobody knew who inherited it, paperwork is missing, and that kind of explains why there are so many akiyas here. And this permission is not required for you to buy the house. This permission is required for you to take a loan. So if you want to buy cash, I think it's much easier. But if you want to use the bank, there are loads of requirements that you need to pass. We kept running into situations like this. There are also issues with hazard zones. Japan is pretty mountainous area. And usually the properties with the best view sit on the hill. Most of those areas are in a high, hazard risk zone for landslides. Yeah, so if you fall into one of those higher risk zones, the bank will also most likely reject your application for a loan. So having tried several times, we have been rejected several times by the bank. So we let go of that idea. And that's when we found out about the concept of house hacking. In Japan, if you build a home where less than half of it is dedicated to a rental space, you can still get a residential loan. So you build 2 living spaces and a tenant helps cover your mortgage. In a city where Tokyo land prices are what they are, this made a lot of sense to us. We found a plot that we really loved in a very quiet green part of Tokyo, and the bank finally said yes. It's much easier to get a loan for your own residence than it would be for a holiday home, for example. So once we had the land, the next question was, who builds the house? and we looked at several architects and companies whose styles we liked, but we kept coming back to a company called Sumitomo Ringyo. It's one of the most well-known building companies in Japan. Part of the reason was practical. The bank was more comfortable with an established builder, but mostly it came down to one visit 4 years ago. Sumitomo has show homes around Tokyo. The first time I walked in, it was so sophisticated and so much beautiful wood and light coming through. It looked very modern but Japanese at the same time. It just made everything, I don't know, the ambience was very calm and everything was just considered. And I thought, this is exactly where I want to live. At that time, we couldn't commit. We were not ready. 4 years later, we came back. And guess what? It was the same salesman who had shown us around 4 years ago. So that kind of felt special, made the whole thing feel a bit more personal. The style I'm drawn to is what I would describe as a modern Japanese cafe. It's very sleek, clean lines, warm wood tones, contrasting stone. For me, it's a very calming place to be. And that's the kind of feeling I want to come home to. And Sumitomo builds entirely in wood. They don't use any concrete. And their house is very earthquake resistant, which matters a lot to me. I'm so scared of earthquakes. And they have an office in Shinjuku where we meet regularly and work on the house layout and now also design. It's a lot of fun, and Momo-chan is also allowed in the office, which was another big factor why we chose them over anybody else. She's also part of the process. And the most important part of the house design is actually making it dog-friendly. We want Momo to be comfortable there too. One of the reasons we felt very aligned with Sumitomo is that they have pet-friendly material selections. Among all their flooring choices, there is one designed specifically for pets, so their paws don't slip and don't get caught between the edges. Momo is a dachshund, so her back health is something that we are thinking about constantly, and slippery floors are really not good for her. We are designing a full wardrobe for her in the corridor. She has become a bit of a star on Instagram, and brands started sending us beautiful clothes. We have nowhere to put it right now. Outside the house, we're also planning to have a paw wash station. This was inspired by different pet-friendly ryokans where we stayed. I want to make it exactly like this. On rainy days, I think it's very important to have it. We will be choosing furniture that is a little bit closer to the floor. Momo has ramps everywhere and we will continue using them, but the moment the mailman comes, she just charges from the sofa. And sometimes I think if the furniture was a little bit lower, it would make me feel a little bit less anxious. Also, I'm hoping there will be enough space to make her dedicated feeding spot. Food is very important in Momo's life. I want her to eat in peace. My husband Taro has been a little nervous about one thing, and it's very Japanese of him to think about this. In Japan, most people prefer apartments over houses. They are considered safer, and rubbish management is much easier in the apartment rather than a house. When you have a house, you need to know exactly the schedule when when they pick up burnable, when they pick up the glass, when they pick up metal and things like that. Yeah, I think it's just something we'll need to get used to. And Taro is a little bit anxious about that. I also know that he's going to get his own dedicated space for his DJ booth. He loves to DJ, and at the moment, his turntables are really tucked away. But we will have a dedicated space for that in the middle of the living room, so he can DJ whenever he feels like it. So right now we're deep in the design phase. Week after week we meet with Sumitomo, going back and forth on the floor plan, adjusting details. Actually last week we just signed off the floor plan, so now we're moving into selecting the kitchen, bathroom, toilet design, which is a whole world of its own here in Japan. It's really amazing. So if you do want to know more, please drop a comment and I can make a separate video about that. Building starts in November. And they build really fast here. It will be done by end of next year's summer. Yeah, as soon as we sign off the design, you can't really make any changes. So we really need to plan carefully. So yeah, I'll be documenting the whole journey. But for now, I need to take Momo-chan to her trimmer. She's getting a new trim. So if you want to watch that too, you're more than welcome.